Hey guys, how we doing? Having some fun with some old pictures today. So we're going to see how this works out, and looking at the hits, I'll be able to tell if you guys like this or not. This is Super Dirt Week, October 4th. It was a Tuesday back in 2006, the very first year of doing Doug's Dirt Diary. There was you guys who were fans of Doug's Dirt Diary and watched it back in the day, or listened to it, back in the day, know that we made a lot of money off of photos and taking pictures, so I figured I'd go through some of the bins and let you guys see a little bit of what I saw. Again, this is 2004. There's the famous grandstand at Syracuse. We all loved going there, and this was my first year covering it with my new venue. Of course, bikes were a good way to get around at the New York State Fairgrounds. Here's them getting set up outside the gate, and that's our good friend JR in the background there. Kenny Rogers, remember him selling the programs. I know the guy in the front, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but the place to be on the Tuesday of Super Dirt Week was underneath the grandstand area. That's where all the action happened, and that's where inspection was on Tuesday. And this Tuesday, I remember the first year we did this was 2006, and we'd been building slowly over the course of the summer, kind of like we did with this particular YouTube channel here too. But by the time we got to Super Dirt Week, we were really doing some pretty good numbers. And I remember this day because it was frustrating, because it kept crashing. The website kept crashing. I remember I came early, I took these photos, and I went home early to try to put them up, and I got to a point, I started putting the photos up. All of a sudden, we crashed the website. It just couldn't handle the traffic. And as frustrating as it was, the nice thing was that at that point, I remember thinking, wow, we've really got something here. If we're doing these kind of numbers now during Super Dirt Week, because everybody wanted to see the new cars. Remember, this was Super Dirt Week back when you had to have a purpose-built body. This was before they started winning with basic cars. Hello, Vic Coffee. Two-time winner, by the way. I'm not sure if 2006 was one of those wins or not, but this is what it looked like underneath the grandstand, and what a great environment it was to be under there and to see these cars, because again, a lot of these were brand new cars in some cases. Some people had Syracuse cars that they held on to, and they only brought them out for the mile at Syracuse. At one point, I just kind of took my golf cart and went around to back over to Gate 6. That's where we are right here. So this is right at the check-in point, right over near State Fair Boulevard. And already on Tuesday, lots of guys getting themselves all hooked up and having fun and going out there. How many folks remember Gator Racing Photo News, the Patrick family? Such a nice bunch of folks, and it was too bad that Gator Racing Photo News had to go away. But remember the phrase, gotta get a Gator, and you always got one at Super Dirt Week. There's the folks from Area Auto Racing News. You can tell by the jackets, they're getting themselves all set up for Super Dirt Week on Tuesday. So by the time I got back over, you could tell Vic Coffee is now almost all the way through the line, because remember, he was pretty much towards the beginning of the line underneath the grandstand before. And Jumpin' Jack, we miss you, Jack. Ronnie, of course, carrying on his family's name and doing a great job doing it. Jack, we miss you so much. And obviously, as you can tell, it was raining that day. And usually we stayed pretty dry underneath that grandstand at the State Fair, but every now and then it did get a little wetter than some other times. The young Corey Reed there with the dirt car officials. And I know the guy in the center, I can't think of his name right now, but he was always around. And so nice to see him. There's Mr. Small Block, Pete McNell. Not sure if that was the small block or the big block, as a lot of things came through on that day. And again, this was before they moved it outside of the gate a little bit later on. This was when they were right over, like we said, underneath the main grandstand. Pizza logs, who didn't eat those at the racetrack? Probably still do today. And of course, they sponsored a whole bunch of people back in the day. I always thought this photo was interesting here. You've got an official looking down at the rules. Wait a second, I thought that was over there, right? So lots of things to check on these cars back then. Martin Roy from up in Canada, his familiar number 90, getting a good going over here. They're looking at the back of Dale Plank's car right there. Time to take the hood off and see what's going on underneath. Bob Miller, normally shooting video, but had a camera in his hand for this event here. Bob, we hope you're feeling better, buddy, and we hope you're doing really well. And again, if I get a lot of views off, I get some views off this, I'll keep doing this stuff right here. Now, this one was interesting. I did another picture of follow-up here, but if you look under in a second here, you're going to see the reason I took this picture. There was a snail actually camped out on his ATV underneath there. So here's a guy we know from ARCA competition, Scott Ferrier, good for him and his crew, as they brought a beautiful looking 220. And that was the big thing back then, is, you wanted to see what these cars looked like, and anybody that was taking pictures on that first day was going to get a whole bunch of them. I know you guys are going to like this one. I had this one up on my own Facebook page last year, but I wanted to make sure I included it here. A young Matt Shepard back in 2006. quick trip over to the infield. You can see still a lot of stuff to set up. Man, we missed that grandstand. And no, I did not show up that day when they blew it up. I didn't want anything to do with that. I didn't want to be anywhere near the New York State Fairgrounds on that part. Of course, Advance Auto Parts, longtime sponsor of the Super Dirt Car Series. Brian McDonald, Big Slim, or as they called him most recently, Captain Chaos. If you remember the old... what was it? Not Gumball Rally, but the other one there with Burt Reynolds and all those guys. Captain Chaos, big part of that. Love that paint scheme that they had on there that year on his car. And, of course, a lot of work as always, getting tires ready and things like that. There's Willie Decker's ride for Super Dirt Weekend 2006. Great job there by Tom Cullen Racing to get that thing looking good. And the noses were just starting to change a little bit at this point, too. Of course, air was a big thing at Syracuse. And there's Big Dave Thompson. Getting ready for what would be a big week with him and all of his friends from up in Hogansburg. You guys remember the Native Poker cars from back in the day. Roy Tarbell's 007, the ResX Racing crew. And I know I got one with Roy here. There's Roy right there. He was a big guy, all 6'3", 6'6" of him or something like that. He was a big guy. There's Mr. Excitement, Jimmy Horton, the only racer who had a president ask if he was doing okay. Remember his infamous flip at Talladega? And, of course, because President Reagan was there at the time. And I was like, I hope that guy's okay, because he actually flipped out of the racetrack. And his famous quote, of course, was, you know you're in trouble when the first guy to get to you has got a beer in his hand. So, Randy Ross, I've been seeing your stuff on Facebook, man. I hope you're doing okay. I got to delete that one there. I missed that one. It's more folks in the infield getting ready on a rainy start to Super Dirt Week. I mean, what would Super Dirt Week be without a little bit of rain? There's Tim Fuller, the man right there, getting ready to go for Super Dirt Week. And everybody's smiling on Tuesday because nothing bad has happened yet at this point. There he is. We miss you. How you doing? I just saw him this past summer. Danny Creedon, way back in the day, looking real young right there. The A-Bear crew from up in Canada, a couple of their #1 cars right here that we had a chance. Again, I have all these photos. If any of you guys are interested in getting photos, message me, Doug@DougsDirtDiary.com. My email is still the same as it was back in 2006. Hey, Tommy Sears, how you doing? Back when he was driving for the Hoppins crew in the 83 there. So nice to see them back. Of course, he always ran well at Super Dirt Week. If you guys are interested in any of the photos, send me anything. If you've got some requests or something, you can do that as well. Here's a guy we really miss, Steve Hulsizer, and there he is inside his car. One of the first guys I ever met in racing. He flipped his Nova street stock the very first night I was at Fulton, and he was joking about it in the pay line afterwards. He made me a fan right away. So Steve was a big reason that I caught on here right away. This was back when Schrader valves were first coming out, and you see that little piece they've got on there to protect that little Schrader valve from getting knocked off from something coming off the racetrack there. So a lot of thought went into that. There's a look at the fuel system. Of course, hasn't changed a lot. Tough to get that fuel can in there, and of course you got your catch can on the back. That's what the piece is on the right there for the catch can. Brett Hearn, Stacker Haulers in place. Wayne Jelly, a lot of Lebanon Valley guys always did very well on the mile at Syracuse, including this guy right here, Andy Bacchetti. So a lot of work had to take place, a lot of folks checking things out. There's our old webmaster, Andy. We hope you're doing well, buddy. Troyer Race Cars, of course, we were in their tent for a little while. They were sponsoring us at that time, so we got to see the inside of what they were doing there. Billy Colton doing some work. I just kind of liked this shot right there. That's why I took it. I always like getting behind the sheet metal and trying to take some shots like that. If you like this stuff, guys, let me know. Share, like, support. Some folks lately I've given some gas cards and some things like that, which has really helped to keep me going. But I have a bunch of these, and I have a feeling that I'm going to be doing a lot more of this down the road. So I hope you liked this one right here. We're going to do more, like we said, back when Hoosier had a lot of tires too. So we wish you guys all the best. Hit the blue E down there to subscribe. You'll learn every time we're doing something cool, guys. All right. You have a nice Halloween, and I'll be back with more soon.